If you're in Illustrator, you'll see this box that comes up. So what you really need to understand is the difference between more like graphics in terms of pixels and then vector graphics. If you see you have create new, this is probably the most important part, because if you mess up on when you first start your illustration, if you start it the wrong way, it's going to be a really pain later. So you'll notice there's a print document, a web document, and so on. And if you have a Google site, or I know Mr. Bird's going to have a session on Blogger, and if you want to have more customizable graphics for these type of things, Illustrator is a great way to add more customizable graphics for your sites. So you got to decide what you're going to do. If you're going to do like a t-shirt design, you'd want to start with a print document. What that basically means is it's going to have a higher resolution. If you have a web document, it's a lower resolution, because we don't need it to be a huge file size for the web. The web only handles up to a certain point in terms of the intensity of the rate. So today we're going to go to, and if you are making a t-shirt design, you can go like from a template, and they have like a t-shirt like samples, like the outline of the t-shirt's already made. So they have a lot of good templates here. Like if you want to make a promotional stationery, here's a website template that's already being made. It'll just make it really easy for you. But I'm pretty sure they have a t-shirt. So here's a poster. If you're making a poster site for the hallways, they do recommend that you use Illustrator and for printing. So this one here, this template, is already set up to have the settings for poster. And again, so yeah, so there's brochures and letterhead, so you guys can play around with that later depending on what kind you want. But today we're going to do a web graphic, so you can just hit web document. Now for your web document, notice on the right side here it says color mode RGB. There's two types of color modes, and it's really important. RGB means it's going to be standard for web color. There's a difference between web color and print color, and I don't want to go into the details of that, but just think if it's for the web, you need RGB. If you're going to print something, the printer prints with 4 colors, and so it's going to be CMYK. So you would need to change this color mode to CMYK if you're going to print it. Okay. Now, if you start in CMYK and you save it as like a image, and then you like upload it to the web, it's going to look a little discolored because the web treats CMYK a little bit different in colors. And again, I know it sounds technical, but again, this is one of the most important parts of starting out, because you won't get the print job that it looks like on the screen or on the web if you don't make a wise decision between this. So just think RGB is for if I'm not printing it, CMYK is for when I do print it. And again, this is for web 72. You usually want a high 300, which means it'll be more detailed when you print it. But in this case, we're just going to use a web graphic with 72. So sorry to talk about the nitty-gritty technical details, but again, it's very important. I wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't. So I'm going to hit OK. So notice that it created a new one. If you wanted it more the portrait size, up and down, there's the orientation here. This little guy, the second one, it's kind of hidden. Most people miss that. And so if you hit that one and hit OK, you'll see it has like a page size. And if I don't want that, I can hit Command W to close that one, and I'm back to my landscape one. So let me show you guys what we're going to be doing today in Illustrator. I decided we'll try to create a little panda bear using different shapes. So I mean, it maybe look hard, but you'll notice that it's really easy once we combine shapes with the basic tools. So what we're going to do is start out. Go to the rectangle tool, or M on the keyboard. So if I tell you a shortcut, it just means hit M on the keyboard, and then you can draw your shape. And again, we're drawing this little panda bear so you can get a sense of how big that square should be. We're drawing the base of it right here. Okay, so this is just going to be the body. Now, if you want a perfect square, if you click on rectangle and double click, you can do the exact width. So let's say you want it to be 200. And again, I'm just guessing. I have no idea how big that's going to be. But I can do exactly, a square. Because, I mean, I don't even think I could, like, draw a square, Like, I can't get exactly a square. But double click and it will allow you to do one. Right now, we're not drawing an exact square. It's more of a thicker rectangle. So you can draw just a rectangle like this. Something like that. Okay. Now, if you have the default settings on, it probably has a black line on the outside. To change the colors, the outline color and the inside color, it's the top left up here. So what you can do is color it black, and then you can choose like no stroke. No stroke means this line right here that says none. Okay, so you'll notice now it's just a black rectangle. Okay, so everyone should have this black rectangle. Now what we're going to do is create a circle shape. Okay, a circle shape. So go ahead, hold down that button on the right side with the rectangle. Hold down, and then you can change it to the ellipse tool. And then that way we can make a circle. Okay? So hold down. Hold down. Right here. Yeah. The rectangle tool. Hold down on the rectangle tool, and then you'll get the ellipse tool. Or you could hit on the keyboard just L. If you have the rectangle tool, you can just hit L, and it'll change it to the ellipse tool. Okay? So, good feedback. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a circle and make it, you notice that there's a black circle in the middle here. What you're going to do is position that middle, that's your central point. You're going to put that right in the middle of the top rectangle, okay? And you want the edges to be on the edges of the rectangle, okay? So I'll do that again, and I'll zoom in a little bit more. So again, I have my ellipse tool. You click and hold down the button, okay? Click and hold down the button and drag out. Again, I'm holding on the mouse button. I'm dragging it out until I hit about the middle point. Now, if you guessed wrong, like notice here, I need to move it over to the left. Hold down the space bar, okay? My finger is still pressed on the mouse, and I'm going to hit the space bar, and then I can move it over, and I can move it up, okay? And if I let go of the space bar, I can make it smaller. So if you click it and hold down the click, it's a size. If you hold down the space bar, it changes the position. Okay, so try that, because otherwise you won't be able to get it exactly lined up as you want it to be.
It moves the whole screen.
Sorry, what?
Like when I do it, it moves the whole screen. Like everything moves.
You have to make sure you're holding the click button down. So again, you're just holding the space bar. If you just hit the space bar and then move it, you can like grab it and move your document around to get to the place that you want to be. But in this case, look, I'm click, I hold down my click, and then I drag it out. So click, I'm holding it down, dragging it out, hit the space bar now, I'm still holding down with my mouse, and I'm positioning it where I need it to be. Okay? And you're going to put the circle again around halfway. Notice that my midpoint, see that X in the middle of my circle? I put that in the middle. Again, to move it, watch, I click, drag, I'm still with my finger holding down the click, dragging it. If I want to position it, hold down the space bar while I have my index finger still held down, and you can move it. When I have it to where I want it to move it, I let go of the space bar, but my index finger is still on the mouse button. And when I get it to where I want it to be, then I let go of my mouse, and then I got it.
Yeah, there we go. So can we copy and paste that circle?
Yeah, so notice we have this circle. If you hold down the Option key, okay, this circle is selected, hold down the Option key, and notice now you'll have two little arrows. Two little arrows. So with the two little arrows, if I click and drag, notice that, again, two arrows are there. and then it duplicates that same circle. Okay? Again, click my circle. I hold down the Option key. I click that circle again and hold down the mouse button. And then I drag it. Again, right now I have my index finger held down on the mouse and my left index finger held down on the Option key. And then I drag it across. Okay? If you didn't get that, that's fine. Command C, Command V works as well, and then you can just move it. So that's the shortcut if you want to do it like that. Okay? So we're going to position our ears a little bit about halfway. So we should have our ears like that. Okay? So again, if you have one circle, the easiest way is Command C, Command V, and then put the other circle there. There's also the Reflect tool, but I won't explain that. It's a little bit more advanced. Okay. If you need help, there's a couple people who already have it done and they can help you. I know Jared looks good. Craig's good. Okay. Again, I'm going to keep going. It's okay to have an earless panda. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is, this is kind of like the base of my panda bear. But notice, if I accidentally click and drag it, notice how it separates. We don't want them to be separated, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to group them together. To group these together, you're going to like maybe click and highlight, draw a big box around the panda. Again, I'm on this arrow key right here. If you hold down V, we're not drawing a rectangle around the box. We're just selecting everything. Another way to do this is just hit Command A, and Command A will select everything. Okay. After you select everything, you hit. You can group it, Object Group, or Command G, and then you can group everything together. So now when I click and move things, you know, it's grouped together and we won't lose that form. Okay. Now, one good thing about this is, like, for example, let's say I didn't want a black panda. Let's say I wanted a red panda. And if I click on this and I change the color, notice the whole thing changes right now. Okay. So that's another feature you want. If you want to know a more advanced feature of combining these shapes, you don't have to do this, but if you go to Window, Pathfinder, in your Pathfinder, you can select this first one. It says Unite. And if you unite those, now notice that it's all one shape. Notice now all those different shapes are gone, and now it's one shape. So you guys don't have to do that. That's just more a little advanced if you want to group shapes together. So a lot of times people do this when they make clouds. So for clouds, it's just a bunch of circles, you know. And so what I can do is, after I make a bunch of circles, I can just highlight all those circles in my Pathfinder. Again, that's Window, Pathfinder. And then I can choose my first one. It says Unite. And now watch all these circles. They're all going to unite together, and now it's one object. Okay? So again, this is very applicable if you're going to make diagrams, if you want to make arrows, if you want to make clouds for maybe a cartoon, a comic cartoon to put on your worksheets instead of maybe getting one from the internet. You can do that. So, all right, so we have our panda bear. Let's give him some feet. So again, we're going to click on the circle. And we're going to give him a front foot here. Okay, and again, just draw your circle. And we're going to put another circle on the other side. Now, this is where you get to choose how you want your circle to be. You can either choose them to be, if it's like this, it looks like he's sitting. or we can push it behind. For now, just put 2 circles below so it looks like he's there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and make this tummy area right here. All right. All right, to make the tummy area, again, we're going to use another circle and put a circle in the middle of his, where the belly would be. But now we're going to color his circle in, okay? So to color the circle, after you let go of the mouse, go up here to the colors up here, and then you can choose like a white or an off-white and get the exact color you want to be. If you want more options with the colors, there's also on the toolbar on the bottom left. The bottom left, there's a toolbar here. If you double click the fill, you'll get like the color range, and then you can get more exact colors that you want. And again, if you this is for a web graphic, there's this here, it says only web colors, and you can do this. Again, you don't have to do this. This is more of an advanced feature. As long as you know this, where to change your colors, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, just give them a circle tummy. Now notice how this shape, it's not a perfect shape, circle. It's a little bit oblong. So what we're gonna do is we have our circle selected. When I say selected, that means this black arrow in the top left corner is selecting this tool. What you're gonna hit on the keyboard is the A tool, A as in apple, or you can go ahead and just click on the direct selection tool. So we want this white arrow instead of the black arrow. Okay. What this is gonna do is allow us to edit this little point. So what you're gonna do is click, you see this? This is called an anchor point. Okay. Don't click outside the point. Don't click anywhere on the point. You have to click on this little anchor square on the line. Okay. When you click on that line, you'll see 2 lines, and these are guides that will come up. Okay. Now what you can do is, if you click on one of these circles, that's a handle. You can basically now manipulate this circle to get it to be the shape that you want it to be. So in this case, what you're going to do is basically click on that anchor point, okay? And again, make sure you get these 2 guides, okay? And click and then drag that anchor point up. Notice how I'm now making a different kind of circle. So now notice my circle is more like this, okay? Again, I'll do it one more time. I have my circle, okay, the best circle I can get. Hit the A as an apple on the keyboard to get my direct selection tool, the white arrow. This is the hardest part, click on this little square on the bottom, it's my anchor. When I see 2 little lines spread out, that means I got it, okay? And I'm gonna click on that little anchor then and drag it up, and I can manipulate that shape, okay? And again, this is helpful if you're creating your own like shapes and graphics to get exactly what you want. Okay, good. I see most of you guys got that, at least the screens I see. Again, you don't have to have this shape. I mean, it's okay. You can have a round shape, so circle. It's okay. So again, everyone's at a different pace and level, but hey, as long as the panda looks good to you, it looks good to everyone. So.
If you have overlapping circles, how do you make one color overlap on the other one instead of vice versa?
Yeah.
Like bring the front, is that what he's talking about? How do I make it?
Give them a white ear instead of a black ear.
Oh, the white ear, and yeah. So what you would do is, like what I did was already united these. You would put it like behind the shape, and I'm gonna explain that in a minute. So make the stomach kind of big on him, like extra big, just so I can show you guys how to do layers in this. So I'm gonna make an extra big tummy because he's been eating lots of bamboo. So now you'll notice the feet, okay? Now, click on the right foot, his left foot, and what you're going to do is go to Object, Arrange, and then Bring to Front. Okay, Bring to Front. Or Command Shift and then right bracket. Command Shift right bracket, or click on the circle, Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. So what that's doing is now looks like he's kind of walking, right? On this shape, I'll change colors so you can see it better. On this shape, we're going to move this shape behind the panda. So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So now you'll notice this is behind him. So it actually looks like he's kind of running now, right? So you can, that's how layers work. So again, and again, that might have answered your question for the ears. When you want to place the white ear part, how to do that. Let's go ahead and make his mug. Grab the circle tool or the Ellipse tool and then just draw a shape like looks a little bit like this. It's like an oblong shape. And then we're going to fill that white again. If you want to fill this white, notice how this white tummy, we want that same white. If you hit I on the keyboard, you'll notice that there's an eyedropper tool. You see that? So what that does is, it's kind of like Format Painter in Microsoft Word. If I click on the part, I want it to match this color. So if I click here, notice it fills that color. Okay? I'll show you another example of this. If this was yellow, okay, and I wanted this yellow, I just select this, hit the I button for the eyedropper tool, or it's on your toolbar on the left side. See here, Eyedropper Tool. And then you could just click what you want the color to match, and then it will match it for you. Again, that's a more advanced tool, so you don't have to learn the Eyedropper Tool, but only if you wanted to. Okay? You're going to draw 2 more circles. This is going to be the frame of his eyes. So I taught you guys how to duplicate or to Command C, Command F. So this is like repetition now. So you should have something like that because we're trying to have the eyes like this. Okay? So again, what I would do is click all 3 shapes. If you want to select multiple shapes, you hold down the Shift key. So you click, hold down the Shift key, and then click, hold down the Shift key, and click. So notice I selected multiple objects at the same time. Then I can either hit Command G to group it, or I go to my window Pathfinder bar, and then I can click on the first one where it says Unite, and it will unite all of those shapes into one. And then to deselect it, you can hit V as in Victor, and then deselect it. But again, as long as you group them, just remember, hold down the Shift key and select multiple objects. We'll get it. So if you're kind of keeping up well, that's great. You guys can start making the eye, the nose, and the mouth. And those are all up to you and how you want to do that. So I'm going to just start making my eyes. So he can have small eyes, big eyes. Again, it depends on the personality of your panda bear. So this is good practice for repetition of what you learned. So again, I'm going to make some eyes. I'm going to make the twinkle in his eyes by making just little circles of like maybe white. For the mouth, you could use a brush tool. On the left side, you'll see this paintbrush tool right here. Or you could hit B as in Bob, and then it'll bring up a brush, and then you could just draw his mouth. If you want to change the look of the brush, up here, you can change the style of the brush shape. And then you can also change the stroke, like how thick it is. So stroke is the depth of it. To select that shape, you can V as in Victor, or click on the selection tool, the arrow, black arrow. Click on that paintbrush, and then increase the stroke if you want to. So again, if you miss the mouth, you could just do a circle mouth as well. Otherwise, I did B as in Bob, or click on the brush tool here on the left, and then just draw how you want it to be. And then you can change your stroke, like what kind of brush stroke and how thick it is right here. I only took one art class in middle school and high school. I'm really not good in art, and so that should be comforting for you guys. So like, this is definitely not art class. This is just, I know the program, but I'm not good at art, so you shouldn't have to worry about making how it looks. We're just trying to practice the tools to get what we need. And again, you might not make panda bears for your class, but using these shapes, you can make the diagrams that you want. You could make the shapes that you need for your class. Okay, what we're going to do is make these little whites of the ear. And again, you don't have to make the whites of the ear. So if you're still having fun making his eyes and the mouth, that's fine. You don't have to do this. But if you click and just make a circle, and then put it right about over where the outline would be, and then go ahead and make that white. Hit A as in apple, or the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow on the left toolbar. And remember, if we click on that little anchor point and we get those guides, okay, we're going to click again on that anchor point and hit delete. And what that did was it deleted half of our circle. Okay? So now what we can do is we can rotate that. And to rotate it, okay, to rotate it, you can click on the black arrow, the selection tool. How I think of the black and the white arrows, black kind of changes the whole shape. The white arrow changes like a specific part of that shape. So that's how I remember it. So if you hit now the black arrow, now what you'll do, if you hover your cursor over the edge of it, you'll notice that, and this is for any shape, you'll notice the right and left arrows. Now I can just kind of like move that around, okay? And then I can just position it. Again, I'll do that one more time. And again, this is more advanced. You don't have to have this, but again, just make a shape, circle shape. Hit the white arrow, or the A as in apple, to select the white arrow. Now again, this is the hardest part. You're going to click on this anchor point once, click on the anchor point twice to select that anchor point, and then you're going to hit delete on the keyboard. Okay? If you're more advanced, what you can do is use the pen tool to close that shape, but I won't talk about that. So then hit V as in Victor, because we just deleted a part of the shape. Now we want to move the whole shape. And remember what I said, if you want to move the whole shape, that's for the black arrow. So we have the black arrow, and then we position that black, or the cursor, just hover it like right about here. Okay, right about there, and then you can rotate it. Okay, again, right about there. Okay, good. I see a lot of ears going on. Again, you don't have to do this. This is more advanced. So as long as you just learn how to make basic shapes in Illustrator, I mean, I'm sure you can definitely use some of these just basic tools to create the kind of like maybe graphics for your website, for your newsletters. I mean, we can make graphics and insert them into our Word docs or pages, into PowerPoint presentations, things like that. So Okay, I'm going to show you guys now how to make the arms. My panda kind of looks like an alien. He has really big eyes. Now, the pen tool I think is the hardest tool out in the toolbar, but I'm gonna just show you briefly how it works. Hit the P for pen on the keyboard, or on the left toolbar you'll see the fourth tool down, you'll see the pen. Just click on pen. Now what you'll do is, for example, let's say I want my first point to be, don't draw this, I'll just explain it first. Let's say my first point I want, notice here on this person's panda, you're only going to draw 2 points, the starting point and the end point, and then we're going to bend it. So I'm going to hit a point here and a point there. So what I'm doing is drawing the circles for you guys to show like where my pen's going to go. So again, P for pen, and for my pen I can choose the color here. We don't want to fill our pen. Our pen is a stroke. Okay, so when you have a stroke, there's nothing filled. It's not like we're creating a circle with like content inside of our stroke. So we're just going to choose nothing for filled, but we're going to make sure that there's a color here, maybe black, for the stroke. Okay, and again, the outline stroke color it's a double square. And then you can choose the thickness of it. So I'm just going to maybe choose 10. And then you can choose like what kind of like stroke that we're going to make, the brush. Okay, so with the pen tool, okay, again, this is a little bit harder. What you're going to do is P for pen. I'm going to click here where this dot is, okay? And then I'm going to click on my ending dot. Now, hold down when you do your second click. Hold down your index finger on the mouse. You'll notice it's a straight line, but if I hold down, I'm holding right down, and I can drag it down, and you can bend your line to where you need it to be. And again, this is one of the most advanced features, so if you don't get it, that's fine. I just want to introduce it to you just in case you're like, what is that pen? I can't get this pen. It's so annoying. It's not like writing. It's so hard to do. Well, I'm showing you because it is complicated. It is hard, so you don't have to like think you got to get it the first time. Okay? So again, I'll do that one more time. Okay? Again, you don't have to have these 2 circles. They're just there to show you where I'm clicking. Okay? So somewhere in the black area, I'm going to click once, I let go, and then, but the second time, I'm going to click and hold down with my index finger and then drag it. So again, my index finger is on the mouse and I'm dragging it to where I want it to be. Again, these 2 lines that are going out are guides. They're just to help me with symmetry and balance, so I can get the shape that I want. Okay? So I saw a couple people have cool arms. They're more like this, so it's like it's being hooked around. You could have them doing like the YMCA or different actions, hand actions. But I'm just going to have a simple coming out. Notice my stroke, it doesn't really match the thickness. He has really puny hands, right? So all I need to do is, again, I want to change the whole thing, the whole stroke. Remember, if you want to change the whole stroke of something, you click on the black cursor, or this, V as in Victor. And then it selects that whole object. Okay, and then I can move it around to where I want it to be. Okay, if you move it around, I can then look up here where it says stroke, and then change that stroke to be thicker. Okay, so notice now I can find a balance to where I want it to be. That's a little bit better. I can move it. Okay. Again, this is more advanced. You don't have to have this part, but if I wanted it longer, if I wanted this pen stroke longer, all I have to do is click on that path to select it. Remember, I want to just change one part of the stroke. So I don't want the black arrow. I want the white. Yeah, because only one part of it. So I select A as an apple, or the white. And then notice here, again, there's this little dot. See this little dot at the end, the anchor point? I click it once, and then I click it again, and then I can stretch out my arrow to move it. Okay, notice that it moved it
Cool.
there. So, and again, I can move the angle if I want as well. Now, notice that the arm kind of looks decapitated. So instead, I want to round this shape out. To round it out, what you're going to do is go to Window. Now, on the top, all these windows, notice there's a lot of windows you could have open. See on the right side, I see like swatches, gradients, all these windows. So if you can organize your windows of what to show and what not to show. If you don't have any windows and it looks all messed up and you want to go back to the default windows, this is really important. You just go to Workspace and then you can just choose Essentials or Automate. And when I do that, it automatically reorganizes them for me. So again, Window, Workspace, and if I choose Automate, notice that now it's all organized on the right side again. So it looks really nice after it got all jumbled up. But I want the stroke window. So I'm going to go to Window and Stroke. Okay, Window and Stroke. And you can click these windows and drag them wherever you want. So remember, your arm should still be selected. To select it, V as in Victor, and then click on that line. And then what you'll see in this stroke window, you'll see the second one. It says round cap. We want to round cap it, and we can see it rounds it out for us. Okay? If you were making maybe a worksheet and you wanted dashed lines, you can click dash lines, and it would dash it for us. The reason why you don't see the dash is because the stroke is so thick. So I'll show you the dash lines. See the dash lines? So again, to do that, make sure you select the arm. Hit V as in Victor to get the black arrow. Select the arm. And then go to Window to get our stroke. And then choose Round Cap. In our stroke window, the second one, Round Cap. Okay? Now what you can do is, if I hit, there's more efficient ways to do it, but I'm going to show you more basic. If I hit Command C, Command F, I duplicate it, but notice that we want the arm to go the other way, right? Well, I guess if you, this way it looks like he's like begging for food or something, or doing the hula dance, yeah. If I wanted it to go the other way around, again, V as in Victor to do the whole thing, and I put my cursor right here. Notice that if I hover it over, I get two arrows. And what I can do is you click and you go over it. Okay, so watch this. All I do is move it, move it, move it. Oh, I keep going. Well, I'm flipping it. Okay, and then you can flip it to the other side. And again, click on the middle part of the arm to select where to move it. Okay, so after that, we pretty much have our panda. We have about 5 minutes. If you want to put a background, let me show you a quick background. If you do a rectangle tool and then draw a rectangle around the whole shape, and then what you can do is we can take our stroke off, and you don't have to, but and then you can fill it with a color. So notice right now it's in front. Okay, now if you hit G as in good, on the left you'll see this gradient tool. If you click on that gradient tool, okay, and then you'll see this little cursor. You see this cursor? If you click and drag this gradient, and then make sure you have your gradient window. To get your gradient window, you can go to Window, Gradient. Okay? And if you click on that gradient window right here, if I click on that, it changes the color of the gradient. Let's say, hey, I don't want white and black. Okay? All you have to do is double click on this color. Again, to get this little window, you go to Window, Gradient. Now let's say I don't want this black color. All you have to do is double click on it, and then I can change it to a different color. Let's say I don't want the white, double click on it, and I can change it maybe to a blue. Okay? And then you can move this cursor around to see how much of a shade that you want. Notice it's going left to right. Let's say you don't want it to go left to right. Let's say you want up and down. All you have to do is just click and drag, and it changes it to the direction that you want. But make sure you have your gradient tool selected. G isn't good to have it selected. Let's say you don't want it to be progressive. You don't want it, to be from one color to the next. You want it to be more of a circle instead of a line. If you click right here on this arrow, you can click on radial gradient. And then notice that it starts one color in the middle, and it extends out. Okay? So again, click on this arrow and then go to radial gradient. And then when I'm done with my gradient, if I want it to be behind the panda, I can just go to Object, Arrange, and Send to the back. Okay? And I have my little cloud. The last 2 minutes, I just want to show you, it does have typing tool. If you go on the left side, you'll see T for type. If you click on that T and then just click anywhere on the document, you can just type it, select the type, and then you can change your font. This stuff is pretty self-explanatory, just like Microsoft Word or another common program. But what you can do is do a lot of things of like rotating it. Now, once you're done finishing your image, you need to save it. Now, when you save it, File Save As, you're just saving the Illustrator file. Now, when you save the Illustrator file, you can't insert the file as like an image on the web or into a Word doc. You have to save it as like a JPEG or a PNG file. To do that, you go to File, Export. When you go to File Export, you can choose the format. Usually web graphics is best to go PNG because of it uses the best optimal pixel. Usually for web, you want to use PNG because it's optimal for web. You could use JPEG if you want to, a little bit better quality, but and then you're going to hit export. Now, let's say I didn't want this whole box. So let's say I didn't have a background and I just wanted the panda. What I can do is, you'll see this little box here, it says Artboard Tool. Click on Artboard Tool, and then I can resize the edges here to get just the amount of space for my image. And then you can go to File, and again, you go to Export. And now the key here is make sure you click on this, Use Artboards Range 1. Notice that little, it says 1. This is range 1. So when we export this out as Panda, let's say to our desktop, it's going to save it. Now you're going to have different options. Okay, again, this is screen. Screen is for the web. Okay, if you're going to maybe print this, I would definitely do high, 300 ppi. And now notice here it says background. Again, if it's a web graphic, if it's transparent, that way, let's say on your website you have a blue background or your Word doc is all blue background. This will actually, you'll just see the panda. You won't see this white space if it's transparent. If it's white, it'll be that. If it's black, it'll fill in. So I would choose transparent, and then I would hit OK, and then it'll be on your, you'll save it, and then you can use those graphics that you saved for your web or worksheets or even t-shirt designs. Let's say you start an RGB and you want, I want to make this for print. You can easily change it. When you go to File, Document Setup, or Document Color Mode, you'll see RGB CMYK. You can easily change that to CMYK, and what it does is changes the colors to match for CMYK for like printing. And you can do the vice versa. And again, if it's in CMYK and you save it, on the screen, the colors are going to look a little bit different than when you print it. So that's a little bit about wrapping up. So that's a little bit about Illustrator, just a little intro. So I hope that was very helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. I'd be glad to help.